Alright folks, hello and welcome to another modern stream. Hope you had some awesome holidays. But we're back. We're gonna be playing some modern today. But before we dive into the action, I wanted to go over these weekend's results real quick. We had a couple of events. Number one was the mocks. For those of you that don't know, there is these events called the showcase qualifiers, which I have streamed multiple times, so you might be familiar with them. I did pretty well in a legacy one, where I made it all the way to the finals, and then I lost to Hello Newton, who was playing elves. And Newton actually wanted to play. The event was split between draft, so Zendikar Rising draft, and then the other half was modern. It was kind of a weird kind of like structure. Like if you 3-0 the draft, you made it to the finals. So then if you 3-0 the modern portion as well, you just straight up won the event. But if you just lost one match, there was basically no incentive for you to keep playing. It was super weird. I honestly did not like the structure of the event at all. But it was basically two pods, and if you 3-0'd one of the either the draft pod or the modern pod, then you made it to the finals, and then the finals was just like one match. It was super weird, and it was extremely high stakes. It was like 20k for the winner or something ridiculous. Mooseman, thank you for the subscription. Welcome back for the 7th month now. Tier 1 sub. Thank you for supporting the stream. Hola Swan, ¿cómo te va? Saludos, saludos. So that was the event. It was a lot of money on the line, and Newton and I talked a little bit, and we talked because he wanted to play a Greenwater Reclaimer, which of course I was happy to hear about. So this is the list that he ended up playing. It is very, very interesting. One thing that when you look at this list, you have to take into account that this event is very, very narrow. And again, like Newton played with 7 other players. Like that's it. It was just 8 players total. So as you're going to see, the list is pretty narrow in a way. Like we have a very, very streamlined main deck, right? We have 4 Reclaimers, 4 Explorers, 4 Dryad, 4 Primetime, 4 Path, 4 Castles, which I think it's very, very interesting. So we're like super streamlined into trying to tighten ASAP. The 1 of Raminap, and then of course the 4 Calls and the Tangled Florahedron, which by the way, I think that this card is significantly better than the Mammoth, in my opinion. I've talked about that multiple times. But we're gonna see that there's basically no toolbox in the lands. Like it's very, very small. We have Bojukebog, we have Cavern, of course, we have the fields, right? And we have Ghost Quarter, and that's it. Like that's it. That's all that we have. There's no Vesuva. I guess that Celestial Sanctuary is sort of a toolbox land, but not really. There's no Radiant Fountain. There's no Vesuva. And it's kind of like super streamlined and aiming to tighten on turn 3 or turn 4 at the latest, which is cool, and it's an approach that makes a lot of sense if you don't think there's going to be a lot of aggro players, which there weren't. Half the field was Omnath decks, so this seems like a pretty interesting approach when you're expecting something like that. Funny enough, though, particularly because of the main deck Raminab Excavator, right? Like this card is great against Omnath, but with the main deck, I feel like I don't know, like Vesuva is just so insane so often that I understand. Like Newton's idea was trying to maximize. So you're gonna see that we have 8 fetch lands as opposed to the usual 6 that we oftentimes see, and 4 castles. Like the idea was to try to maximize on the castle aspect of things, right? Like just make sure that we play the Titan the earliest possible, and basically foregoing all of the utility of Elvish Reclaimer, or a bunch of the utility of Elvish Reclaimer. Like the fact that this continues to ramp is obviously the main utility that Reclaimer has. But we're only limiting our toolbox to basically 3 lands, and that's it, which is which is a little bit limiting, of course. We also don't have a card that I've been very impressed with, which is Turn Timber Symbiosis. I think that Turn Timber is very, very good in this deck. But I don't know, I guess that Newton just didn't like the card. We also don't have Our Promise, which is another card that I've been liking, or Summoner's Pact or something like that. Neither of all of those effects we have available, which I thought was pretty interesting. When we move on to the sideboard, we have the 4 relics. This, I think, if you're not splashing for Boil, these, I think, are just basically mandatory. Like, these are just very, very, very important for the Omnath matchup. And you are winning some percentage in some other matchups, obviously, like matchups where Relic is good, like Dredge, Upso Spells, etc. But you are really missing a lot of percentage against other decks like Scapeshift, for example, which has started to come up a little bit, actually, which I'm kind of happy about, but at the same time not happy about, because I love the deck, but usually the decks that I like just scoop to the blue Scapeshift decks. So I'm not too excited to see that deck is really starting to come back up. Also, we are completely ignoring the Tron matchup. Like, this deck cannot be Tron. Like, you just can never be Tron in a million years. So again, but I don't think that Newton expected anybody to play Tron in this event, so it makes a lot of sense. Ground Seal is actually a pretty cool one. It stops Renin 6 and Mystic Sanctuary against the Udo decks, and it's just like a 2-mana card that it cantrips, so it replaces itself, and then it just sits there, basically blanking a couple of your opponent's important cards. So I think it's cool. I don't think it makes too much sense when you're already playing the 4 relics, and this card is ridiculously narrow. Like, that's it. Like, that's what it does. it stops exactly those cards out of the Udo decks, and that's it. Like, it just doesn't really do anything in any other matchup. It stops Surgical Extraction against Mill. Like, that is the other use for the card. So anyway, Fermacav against the decks like Upsal Spells and stuff like that. Dismember as extra removal. This is something that I have been experimenting with, and I actually have been happy with. Particularly against the Taxes deck, Dismember is just awesome. 4 Purges, I think this is pretty much stock. 3 Mind Sensors. I assume that Newton was expecting to see some mirror matches, so I do like the being overly sensitive about that. And then Limbala, Keeper of Silence against the Heliod deck, which I think is very, very good. So I don't know if anybody was playing the Heliod deck in this event. Maybe nobody was after the whole issue that we had in the other mocks when we had the Oliver 2 thing with MJ, where things got a little bit awkward there. But yeah, so this is the list that Newton played in the event, which I thought was pretty cool. Definitely a lot of interesting deck building decisions. And he managed to get 3rd place, which was $7.5K, which is pretty good. Pretty good for a 6-round event, huh? But yeah, I don't think that this is a list that you can just, fire up a league and play the challenge, because I don't think you're going to be doing very well, or playing in a league. Like, I would not play this list in the league. We're gonna go over Xwhale lists, which is what I am going to be playing in the league. But really quickly, I wanted to go over this before we started this stream. Migitalo, think about follow. Okay, now that we finished the little deck there, let's catch up with chat. Hey Sam, how's it going? Back to roots, hell yeah. Have you seen it? Oh yeah, thank you, Swali, appreciate it. What land did you cut for the GQ? Because the original list didn't have a GQ. I think it did. I just copied it from Twitter. Maybe it's wrong. Yeah, again, as I explained, this is not the list that I would play in an event. Currently trying to build a deck in paper, but it has proven significantly difficult. Vesuva is particularly hard to find, and I think it's essential for the deck. Yeah, I think Vesuva is very good. I wouldn't cut Vesuva. I wouldn't cut Vesuva at all. I think Vesuva is extremely powerful. It's particularly against decks like Dredge, where you need the extra Valaka trigger, the extra Bog trigger. Against decks like even against decks like Omnath or stuff like that, where they are going to be fielding your lands, and then you might run out of Field of the Deads, and you need to copy your opponent's Field of the Dead. So why can't you be Tron? Because Tron goes way over the top and way more quickly of what we're doing here. This was metagame to a very specific field, so it makes sense. Yeah, for sure, exactly. That is the thing. Is it Simic or Timur Scape Shift? No, it's Timur. I think Tomic would be better against Renan 6. No, because Tomic doesn't replace itself, and Renan 6 decks just play Lightning Bolt, so they just bolt your Tomic and then they just move on with their lives. So, he said he would play Eidolon over this member in a league. I mean, that's not the only change that I would make. Is playing Chase format still working MTG? I can't roll the die. I have no idea, Migitalo. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah, I am a big fan of Springbloom. We're gonna be talking about Xwhale lists, so. Missing Scatter Groves. I don't know. I haven't played any matches with this list, but I would be missing Scatter Groves. It comes up a lot. Yeah, I think Newton might have like overdone it a little bit. Like there's only 4 planes to go fetch with Flagstones, which seems a little bit rough. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Now that I have successfully caught up with chat, Machint played Amulet and got 8th place in one of the challenges this weekend. This Amulet list is pretty cool. We have 4 castles, and we have the mono green list that I have been working on, where we have 3 forests, 2 snow covered forests. We're not splashing for packs. We're not splashing for anything. Basically, it's just mono green. And with Primal Command, only one Azusa, which I don't like. I have found that 2 Azusa is the sweet spot. In fact, I am kind of interested in maybe playing more, because there are so many matchups right now in Modern where you really want to find that Azusa naturally. So I'm not too high on one Azusa. I know a lot of people have been just doing that, but I don't agree with it and I don't like it too much. For Turn Timber, sorry, this card is great. No questions there. This is like the reason why the list became a thing, right? This list is playing a 4th castle over the 4th Explorer, or the 2nd Azusa, however you want to see it, which I think it's interesting. Again, I don't think I like it, but like if you're gonna be cutting one Azusa or one Explorer, I think that adding the castle makes sense to me, because you're ramping, right? So we're doing a 2-2 split on Grazer and Scout. Again, I've been pretty happy with this split. More because of the sideboarding implications, which I think is pretty cool. Like being able to stay with a nice amount of ramp, even after sideboarding. So against like Prowess, for example, you just cut your 2 Grazers, but you 2 Scouts, but you still have your Grazers. So you still have a nice amount of ramp, so you don't just get run over. The sideboard I don't like too much. The 3 relics I do like. This is the sideboard that I've been playing, with the exception of like 3 Obstinate Baloth. I don't understand why people are so high on Baloth. Like I understand that it's cool, like it's fine, but I don't understand why people are so high on Baloth right now. Like there's a lot of like mono red Obosh and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm not even sure that I would. I mean, I guess I would bring in all 3 Baloths against mono red, but they just kind of have diminishing returns. And not only that, but more often than not, what I lose to from the Obosh decks is their Blood Moons. It's the fact that you don't know. You're basically just guessing, right? Like you don't know whether they're going to have an aggro hand or they're going to have a Blood Moon hand. I mean, they don't even know what they're going to have. It depends on how they draw. So if you're good against their aggro hand, but you're not good against their blood moon hand, you're gonna lose, and the opposite is also true. So you're kind of in a situation where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, and it's basically all about how the cards turn out. Not too much for you to do about it. Lynn Chalice with a tier 1 sub. Welcome back, Lynn. I was actually going to talk about your list right now. So, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Thank you for the support, my friend. Same person won both chances in Monorail Wash. Yeah, I saw that, which is awesome. Yeah, actually, Xwhale was in the finals of one of those 2 challenges, so that's the list that we're gonna be playing today. But yeah, basically the rest of the deck is pretty much the same list that I've been working on. I've been quite happy with that list. I think that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's cool. I would change the sideboard a little bit. I think I would add at least 1 tracker. Probably not more than 1 tracker anyway. Sergio with the Prime sub. Welcome back for 19 months now. Really appreciate it, Sergio. Welcome back to the Primetime Stronghold. But yeah, that's this list. And now, special feature for Lynn Chalice's. Lynn Chalice's list ended up losing in the finals of the Legacy Challenge. Streamed the whole thing, so I recommend you check that out. Whole thing was streamed in Lynn Chalice's Twitch channel, so you can see the entire action. And what we have here is some green-white reclaimer. But we are doing a little bit of a different thing. Not only we're playing Yorion in the sideboard, which I am not a huge fan of, but like I see it. Scarecrow 751, thank you for the follow. I'm not a huge fan of that, but like it's okay. Like it's definitely something you can do. It's definitely a route that you can take. Is that everything? There's no Misty. No, there's no Misty. So like it's cool. You can play Yorion in this list. The main thing. There's 2 things about Yorion. Number 1, it allows you to add a bunch of cards that I simply don't have the room for in my 60 card deck. One of them is, for example, Maze of Ith. I really wish I had room to play one of Maze of Ith in my 60 card decks, but like it's a land that doesn't tap for mana, right? So you kind of can't really do it, right? Like you just cannot really afford to play Maze of Ith in the 60 card version, because there are also so many other lands that I wish that we were playing. So that is the upside, right? So we are able to fit the one of Maze of Ith. We're able to fit which are the cards? Skewed Swarm, Clothes, Knight of the Reliquary, and Archon of Emeria. So we have access to a bunch of more one-offs. Now, speaking of those one-offs, you're going to notice that we're splashing red for Clothes and 3 Pyroblasts. I don't like this. I don't think that this is worth a splash. The reason is that, like, we see that we're playing 35 lands, and we only have access to 4 basics. I don't like this. Like, I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like, we are forced into playing a million fetches, and we're forced into playing both Taiga and Plateau. But I don't like these cards. Like, these cards are terrible. These cards are so bad. Like, I'd much rather have access to just basic lands instead of Taiga and Plateau. And Pyroblast is... I guess both Clothes and Pyroblast are great, but I don't like the strangle that it creates in our mana base. Like, our mana base is already a mess. Like, this is not a secret. I always say the same thing. Everybody just comes and they look at my reclaimer lists, and they always say stuff like, oh, why aren't you playing Dark Depths? Why aren't you playing, like, all of these nonsense lands? that have this like very narrow scenario where they would be great, but in any other in any other scenario they would suck. And the reason for that is you see 29 lands, in this case you see 35 lands, the mana base is shit. Don't get tricked by the amount of lands that we play. We're gonna struggle with our colors a lot, okay? And this is something that happens very, very often. So we're forced into playing more fetch lands, we're forced into playing terrible Lua lands. I don't think it's worth it. I simply don't think that the payoff is there. Like, these cards are very, very powerful, but I simply don't think that they outweigh the cost of playing Taiga and Plateau. So again, the upside of playing Yorion is that we get to play more one-offs that we might want to tutor for. The downside, of course, is that this card is bad. Like, this is just a 5 mana for 5 flyer. There's literally... This don't count as value, right? Like, you're basically never going to find a land off of Yashar. Like, we are playing 4 basics. Like, this is just... This has no ETB trigger. And if you resolve a primetime and you go to untap with it so you can blink it with Yorion, like, what are you doing? Why didn't you win already? That's just not realistic. So what we're blinking is Renegade Rallier, not worth a card, Knight of Autumn, potentially good, Skyclave Apparition, potentially very, very good, and that's it. That's all the value that we're getting from Yorion. That does not seem like worth the cost, because you have to take into account that if you're playing any cards, like, the chances of you going turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 Flagstones are, I don't know, very low. Definitely a lot lower than if you're just playing 60 cards, right? So I don't think that the value that we're getting from it outweighs the cost of it, if that makes sense. Also, Knight of the Reliquary, this is not a card. This card sucks in this deck. It's not good at all. So I don't recommend you play it ever, basically. Thalia is good. We get to play the full 4 copies of Thalia here, but... So we're gonna see it more often. With 4 copies in my green-white list, I have been playing only 2. So with 4 copies in 80, I guess you're going to see it more often, so that's cool. Teague, I think, sucks. I don't think this card is good in Legacy anymore. And it's not a coincidence that all of the Maverick lists have kind of moved away from this card. It basically just doesn't stop anything. It doesn't stop Doomsday, it doesn't stop Oko, it doesn't stop... Grape Shot, like even the silly, like the storm decks just kill you with Grape Shot nowadays. They don't even need the Tendrils kill. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I don't think Teague is worth a card. So I would not play this. Crop Rotation is really hot though, and Crop Rotation does combo with Reclaim with a Flagstones. So this is definitely a cool card that I wish we had room for in the original Reclaimer list, but we just don't. Like, we just playing better cards, basically. Once Upon a Time, it's a lot worse in this version than in the 61, because you are just going to... it's gonna be more rare for it to be in your opener, and it's gonna be more rare for it to find you the card that you're looking for, while at the same time when you're gonna be drawing it mid-game more often. So I think that Once Upon a Time in particular is not very good. Like, honestly, I don't know if I would be playing the full 4 copies of Once Upon a Time in a list like this. Maybe I'd rather just play like another copy of Sylvan Library or some other form. Some other card that, you know, does something better. I don't know. I was not impressed by Once Upon a Time when I was watching Lynn play the list. What else do we have that is worth talking about? Canopy is another card that I like. It's okay, but I don't think it's worth it. Archon of Emeria seems basically this. You would need to naturally draw it in the matchups where it matters, because you can't tutor for it, right? So you would need to just naturally draw it, and that seems very, very unlikely in an 80 card deck, so I don't think I like this card either. One card that I do like, however, is this one right here. This is a card that I did play in an earlier version of Green-White Reclaimer, And this is a card that I feel is pretty impressive. So I might give this another shot. I might actually give this card another shot and try it again in my green-white lists. But yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, congratulations to Lynn for making it all the way to the finals before losing to the Karn Echoes deck. And yeah, this deck is cool. This deck is cool. Oh, I didn't talk about the sideboard. Yes, Archon, as I said, I don't think it's very good. I think I would play definitely the full 4 definitely silences before I play the Archon. Fairy Macabre, and we have the extra surgical as the 4th copy of Fairy Macabre. That's also cool. Pyroblast, I don't think they're worth the cost, but it's fine. Carpet of Flowers is definitely an interesting one. Like, this card is kind of busted against the blue decks, but at the same time, you don't really care about the mana that you have. You care more about the lands that you have with a deck like this. So I really wonder if Carpet of Flowers is what this deck wants to be doing against the blue decks. Like, I don't find myself like short on mana against the blue decks. In fact, my issue against the blue decks is that I find myself either flooding or they just counter all of my threats. And Carpet of Flowers doesn't help too much against either one of those things. In fact, it's a card that it's not a land, and it's also so it's not helping me trigger Field of the Dead, which is my win condition, and at the same time, it is not a threat that our opponent needs to worry about too much. So I don't know. I feel like it's not what we are trying to do. Maybe it makes a little bit more sense in this version specifically because it gets you to Yorion faster, but is a 5 mana 4/5, I guess 8 mana 4/5 really going to get you there against the blue decks? I don't think so. Let me rephrase that. Is it an 8 mana elk going to get you there against the blue decks? So I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical about the Carpet of Flowers. I would like to know about Lynn's experience with the card, but it seems like it's not where we want to be. But yeah, pretty cool deck list. If I were to play something like this, I think I would make a lot of changes. I am uncertain whether I would like this over just playing 60 cards. I'm pretty sure that I would just rather play my 60 card version, but this is definitely a cool approach. We also saw one Mr. Lee actually go for this route before, but the approach that he was taking was with like vials and stuff. So I definitely like this version better. But yeah, I'm still not sure. I think I would rather just play my 60 card version. And that brings us to today's stream. So what we got here is Xwhale's list. There we go. What we have here is Xwhale list. Xwhale has been working on this deck for a while and has been having a lot of success with. He top 8'd last weekend's challenge as well. I think he got 3rd or 4th or something like that. And he lost in the finals of this week's challenge to the mono red player. So this list has felt pretty nice. I have been liking a lot of what Xwhale has been working on. Number 1, we have 35 lands, which is hot. No exclamation point friend here. This deck is playing the correct number of lands, so no arguments there. This deck is playing 35 lands, 3 castles. This is something that in my reclaimer lists I have not been very aggressive about. Basically, usually I've been playing like 1 castle, maybe 2 castle at most. Xwhale is playing 3 instead, which I find pretty interesting, and I think it makes sense, right? Usually I like to build my versions of Green White Reclaimer a little bit more toolboxy, so you will very often see main deck Raminap. In my green white versions, you will very often see main deck multiple Skyclave operations. Xwhale is not on that boat. He likes to make sure that he casts Titan as often and as early as possible. So that is that's what he's trying to do, and Castle, of course, is very, very good at enabling that. In fact, this list actually has a non-0% chance of turn 3 in a Titan, right? Like turn 1 Gracer, turn 2 Explore, turn 3 Primetime, thanks to Castle Garenbrig. So it's pretty cool in that sense. On the downside of that, I am very interested in seeing what Will's thoughts are about Gracer. Like, this card has been very, very unimpressive for me. So I think I might be happier just playing 3 Explorers instead of playing the 2 Gracers. I guess that if you are expecting a lot of aggro, maybe Gracer is kind of better, but I don't know. I'm still not too hot on Gracer. I don't like it too much. I think that it's very, very lackluster, and it's basically the card disadvantage in a deck like this in the early game might matter if your opponent has like 1 Thoughtseize, right? If you go turn 1 Grazer, your opponent goes turn 1 Thoughteize and they take your Titan, you're like, oh shit. Like, what am I supposed to do now, right? So I don't know how I feel about it. What I do like is the mana base is nice. I don't like the Canopy Vista. Like, this just seems worse than the other land, in my opinion. Like, this is just going to come into play tapped, right? Like, the vast majority of the time, this is just coming into play untapped. So, coming to play tapped, sorry. So, that being the case, I don't know why you would like to deny yourself the potential value of cycling the Blains later with... the cycle line. I can never remember the name of that stupid card, but I don't know. That is one of the things that I'm wondering about this kind of beast. I'm gonna be trying it out today. I'm just gonna be just be playing his list card for card before I make any changes. But I don't know. It just feels like it might be worse than the other land. I would like to see Scattergroves. Thank you, House. We're gonna see how this plays out and how many times the ETB untapped is relevant over the possibility of cycling in the late game. But everything else is pretty much your stock Green-White Reclaimer list, which is cool. The sideboard, we have Limbala. This card has kind of become a staple since the Green-White Heliod deck kind of started taking over. So no surprises to see there. Eidolon and Mind Sensor, tutor targets against the decks where they're good respectively. Same thing with Gadactic, same thing with Raminap, same thing with Knight of Autumn. Will is still playing Tracker. This card just baffles me. Like, I have cut it from all of my lists. I just feel like this card just doesn't make sense in this deck. You're basically never ever going to tutor for it, because you just are not. Like, you're gonna be tutoring for a druid, you're gonna be tutoring for an answer, or you're gonna be tutoring for a way to win the game. And Tracker is none of those. It's just like a medium-sized threat. Like, it's a fine card, and it really pains me to say this. This is like one of my favorite cards of all time, but like, I just think that this card just doesn't belong in this deck, because it's not like you're bridging the gap, right? Like, these cards are bridging the gap. This is bridging the gap. This is just getting you there, like, this is how you get here. Like, Tracker is just, I don't know, like, I just feel like it just doesn't do anything. The only thing that it does is it pressures Ashiok, but like, this deck doesn't care about Ashiok too much, because you just have access to Celestial Purge, so you just kill the Ashiok straight up. You don't need to pressure it. So I am very perplexed about the about Will's addition of Tracker. I'm probably going to ask him later. Finally, 4 relics. We already talked about this in Newton's list. I think that if you're not splashing for Boil, you need to be jamming 4 relics. Like, there's basically no way around it. So that is the list we're going to be playing today. And without further ado, we're going to queue up for our first match. Boom. Nice and easy. All right. Catching up with chat now. Okay, we have some questions. My approach playing this was to try and solve some problems when I tested against Pemin, but overall I think it is worse than 60 cards. I played as a meme, did not really expect to win. Okay, sounds good, Lane, good to know. Do you find the legacy mana bases are that much better, consider that there is so much overlap with the modern base? No, I don't think it's significantly better. I don't think it's okay, but How do I feel about this hand? I kind of want to keep it. Canopy Beast, as I was saying, Canopy Beast, it's just going to enter tapped, right? Like, there's just no way around it. When it matters, it's going to enter tapped, and when it doesn't, like, why do you care, right? So... Would you rather Lantern over Relic since they can turn to you on the play? Oh, look at the draw. That's a draw. So they are different. Oh, that's one thing that I forgot to talk about, which is the 3-1 split. You will often see. In fact, I just made a mistake. I just made a mistake. Damn it. Usually when I play, oh, is this the Folk? Looks like the Folk. Never mind, we're doing fine. When I build my list, I like to play 2 basic forests and 2 snow-covered forests because of the situation that we literally just saw, where Saring7, thank you for the follow. For the subscription, welcome to the Primetime Circle, my bad there. So we just saw what happened there. Like I fetched forest for a forest, and the thing is that with this deck, you sacrifice your lands a lot. So what is my opponent doing? Okay. Well, this is a good exchange for us. Do they just want to... Oh, they can have the 3-2. That's right. The 2-2, sorry. Trickster. Oh. Okay. So he basically time walked my opponent? That sounds good to me. There we go. Subscribe primarily for the server guides. That sounds good, sir. And you know how to access them, right? In order to access them, you need to join my Discord. Yeah, and then you link your Twitch and Discord accounts, and then you're fine. Gonna be fine. Purge is so much worse than Tracker if they don't have Ashiok. Like in one of Newton's game, he just had his one of Purge sitting in hand the whole game. Yeah, but that also means that your opponent is not playing Ashiok, right? So you're fine. You gotta lower the opponent. Starting to think my opponent might be new to Magic Online, huh? I don't think I want to path here because we can still path next turn. Let's get a field here. Play this guy, get a field, and I guess I'm gonna get a blast zone. Yeah. I don't want to path because I don't know if I want to path a Lord or if I want to path my opponent's Merrow Regery. I think I'm gonna want to path the Lord in case they have like a land walk thingy. Reclaimer is great against Pregnancies. Yeah, that's true. Just going into a format and I found Titan next to me. My favorite. Yeah, Xarin. Good. Good for you. Good for you. No, but you guys, what I think Merfolk is so much stronger when it's mono blue. I don't think that is just as clear cut. We're playing against... what are we playing against? Merfolk. That's it, right? Like, I don't care about anything else. Ramming up is interesting, I just don't think it's where I want to be. I wish I had access to like a Dismember or Winds of Abandon or something like that. Do you even want this? Like, it's okay. It's not like insane. Nah, I think I'd rather just submit the same 60. So we were defining before the event, how many purges to regain, variables being number of ashooks and number of other targets. Well, against the Obosh, against the Omnath decks, I think you want to bring like 2 or 3 at least. Being able to hit Omnath and particularly Ren is huge. You care about Ren a lot less when you're playing a version that has 4 relics, obviously, but... Huh. Well, this is interesting. So the reason I'm thinking here is because if we draw any untapped land, we can go turn 1 Gracer, turn 2 Dryad plus Reclaimer, which seems kind of nutty. Hey Luke, how's it going? Definitely an interesting spot. But yeah, this is the situation that I was saying that I find myself in very often with this deck. It's just like, am I supposed to... The forest is very likely, if I go the Reclaimer route, which I think is what I'm going to do, because I want to get the engine going ASAP. If I go the Reclaimer route, I'm going to be... Like, I would like to sacrifice the forest that I'm getting. So that means that I have to get the snow-covered forest, right? And now if my opponent answers my Reclaimer, now I am more likely to find another land I already have than... Like, it just defeats the purpose. Like, I don't understand the 3-1 split. Like, it makes sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me in this deck specifically. Sure. If that's my opponent's plan, I think I'm okay with this. If that is my opponent's plan, I think I can work with this. Oh yeah, yeah. If this is the plan, then I'm in. No, I think I would be comfortable bringing in 2 Levi, even 3. I would even consider bringing in 3. Because the thing to keep into account, the thing to keep into account is the fact that the card that you're trying to bring in. Huh. So if we Dryad, my opponent's dudes are unblockable, but I just start triggering. Valakat next turn. So this seems fine to me. Like, we're gonna be taking a hit, but we only take 1 hit. Like, any land that we draw, we just win, so. Did I miss the results log? Yeah, Professor, we talked about it for like 30 or 40 minutes, so it was a pretty extensive one. So if we draw any land, we just win. Yeah, that also works. Oh, actually, we can't play this. So I think we just path my Gracer, and then we go with Valakut. And we do it right now because path your Gracer, too strong. Too strong. Yeah, when your plan is like turn 1 Vapor Snag, turn 2 Vapor Snag, it's just you're just not winning that game. That's just not a game that you can win. Full art purge or not, always OG art. I guess full arts are nice, but I think that if it were the full art OG, that would be nice. What's the advantage versus Reclaimer versus Amulet? They are very different decks, Xarin. So as you start playing them and you start like, I recommend you check out my demystifying bots if you're interested in Amulet. I made 3 videos where I talk about Amulet really in depth, like really in depth. The videos are old, but they're still relevant. They're still very relevant. Did you get my last original call in the mail today? Looks so nice. I want to fall out by resistant temptation. Yeah, I mean, you can fall out the deck. It's just I personally I'm not a fan of foils. I think I'm gonna keep this one. And we're playing against a red deck. Sick. Dryad. If only I were so lucky. If only I were so lucky. Did I have lethal? You mean against Merfolk, you mean? No, I didn't have lethal, but my opponent was just not playing a game of Magic. I'll block. Yep. I'm playing around light up the stage, right? They had the mutagenic growth, like whatever, but the idea there was to play around light up the stage. So we're gonna have to have another green source, so we're gonna go with this. Oh, that's right. The yield anti-land step thing still does not work, which makes me sad because I use that button a lot. Lightning bolt. Okay. As long as they don't have light up the stage, we're fine. Sweet. They don't have light up the stage. So they just have a Bone Crusher Giant. I guess technically the kind of beast that could enter the battlefield untapped here. I don't want to play this. Actually, they might have main deck. I didn't think about the fact that they might have main deck Blood Moon. Or Magus of the Moon. But Magus, we just beat very easily, so we don't care too much. Okay, I'm gonna risk it, I think. So we're just gonna name Giant here. Oh no, actually we have to name Spirit. Just bog them in case of Bedlam. They're pretty far away from Bedlam, I think. And if they're playing a Bedlam Reveler, that means that I get to resolve my prime time, right? So I'm not too upset about that. We're gonna see what they do. Yeah, I'm taking the 1. What the hell is their hand? Is my question. Hey yo. I definitely want to get Radiant Fountain, and I think the other one's just going to be Valakut, so that I can still get value from this Dryad that I just drew, even if my opponent answers my Titan. In fact, if they answer my Titan, they're probably 0% to win at that point. I don't understand what kind of hand they kept. Like, they're just not doing anything. But if they kill my Titan here, that means that they are not going to be able to kill my Dryad, which means that I'm just going to go ham on them, right? So... Will Amulet Titan be playable in the foreseeable future, or is a critical ban imminent? Really looking to buy into it in paper. Titan's not getting banned. It's not. I don't think I can guarantee it won't get banned, but let's say that I will be extremely, extremely, extremely surprised if it got banned. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do, but that's fine. This is what I wanted to do. We are in garbage time. Oh, thanks are one wizard's mistake from the hammer. That is very true, yeah. that is indeed very, very true. Okay, so cut the ghost quarter. Keep the gracers. We can cut the explorer. What do we want to cut here? I'm not sure if Will cuts Reclaimers in this matchup. Don't think I'm too keen on that though. Cut Bow or Cavern probably. You don't want to cut too many lands. Like, we're already down to 33 as is, and Ghost Quarter and Turn Timber are just worse than the 2 that you named. Bog is not great, but they did show me Reveler, so maybe Bog can get cut. Hey Sam, how's it going? How did it go against Merfolk? We rolled them over. Merfolk is a very good matchup for us. Merfolk is a very good matchup for most decks. Unless your name is exactly Nikachu. Unless your name is exactly Nikachu, winning with Merfolk is a very, very tall order. I think I can cut one Reclaimer. Florahedron is not a creature? No, it's not a creature. It's an ETB tapped land, right? But yeah, Florahedron is not a creature in this matchup. Not 100% of the time. It does happen that you... It doesn't happen often, but it does happen that you want to... This is kind of awkward. We're gonna get got by Blood Moon, unfortunately. It does happen that you cast it, but it doesn't happen that you cast it in this matchup, right? It happens that you cast it against Tron, against Xwhale spells. That's the matchup where you cast Florahedron. Kind of Reclaimer that takes cuts. I mean, you can often cut... I don't like cutting Reclaimer. Well, we're looking good here. This is gonna be bad. Again, kind of PV stays 100% entering tapped here, but I think that we have to do this, unfortunately. Okay. The good thing about this is that it forces, if they have a Blood Moon, they have to play it main phase, which means that we're going to be able to answer it. Might want to grab Streamloan with this call. Yeah, that is what I'm edging towards right now. Burst Lining Face. All right, so we're just gonna purge this. Oh, damn it. Another light up the stage. Sure. I'm using the purge there because of mana efficiency, and also I really don't want to give them a land. No, I don't want to give them a land. I think that there's a lot of cost in giving them a land right here. So now that the Flame Slash is gone, we can play the Eidolon, and basically we just blank all of these cards. I really like Eidolon in this matchup. I really like Eidolon in this matchup. Specifically against mono red or against blue red. But against the black red decks, I don't like it. Muldrota. How's it going? So my opponent basically just wasted 2 light up the stages. That was such a great exchange for us. Yeah. And the good thing now is that we can even path our own dude if we want to. And the good thing about that, obviously, is the fact that we get to play around Blood Moon now. They bolt the Eidolon. Of course, the idea here is my opponent wants to kill this Eidolon over 2 turns, but what I can do here, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to pass the Soulscar Mage. They basically just discarded the Lightning Bolt for no value whatsoever. Man, Eidolon just really wrecks them. Eidolon really wrecks them. There's the Blood Moon. That sucks. But it's not the end of the world. Because we just have 6 basics that we're drawing towards. That is scary. So now any basic just gives us all the mana that we want, so that's nice. If you play Flagstones into the board, does the legend rule apply? It does, yeah. But the go get a land doesn't apply. So I would basically be discarding the Flagstones if I were to play Flagstones here. Lava Dart is such a good one for them to have here. Brutal. Any of our 6 basics and we just win the game. Any of our 6 basics and we just win the game. Is her life total more important than theirs? They're not doing anything. Like, if they are going to play a spell like that, it's 1 point of damage, and I can pivot very, very quickly. Okay, here we go. Now we win. So we purge that. Yeah, we have to do it now, I guess. Purge that. Bailed out. I mean, we had a lot of good draws, right? We had 6 draws there. And I think here I'm actually gonna chump. Now the question is, because I want this Eidolon dead, right? Like, this Eidolon did its job already. I want it dead now. Now the question is, do I path my dude? Do I path their dude? Or do I do nothing? The kill fin is blocked, right? So we are not afraid of this guy anymore. I think we path my dude. I think we path my dude, yeah. And we get a basic forest. And that's why I didn't play Dread, because there was an Eidolon in play. Eidolon works both ways. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. No need to play around Boil or any of that nonsense. Kill that. I am not going for face because my opponent might have a Bolt in hand, and Bolt plus Lava Dart kills the Dryad, and then we end up with nothing, so I'd much rather go the primetime route. Wow, they're just going to waste a bunch of triggers. Yeah, this game is now over. We just win now. And I think I'm getting the bog, actually. Resolves. Green, green. You killed my Dryad. Boo-hoo. So, Bog plus Radiant Fountain? Oh, the Fountain is in play. Game's over, kids. Game is over. I thought I had one more land drop. I forgot that I played this for turn. It's okay. My opponent cannot win. Yeah, I'll throw away a zombie just to deal 2 points of damage. Yep. We are done now. 2-0 start. Pretty good. I love how they wait until they drew their card for turn, right? One time! Oh, that doesn't do it. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's not the one that I was looking for. On a scale of 10 to 10, with 10 being super dumb, how dumb do you think Field is? Probably 10. The opponent can win easy, just internet has to crash. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. So I love how my Dryad was gain. So each one of those Lavadars represented at least 6 damage. At most 6 damage, sorry. So that Dryad was gain 24, triple stone rain you. that was a good Dryad. That was a good Dryad. Apeliotes, thank you for the follow. Why don't I have Mistress Factor in this deck? Because the mana sucks, Scott. Mistress Factor is cute, but it's not good. Why would you pay 7 mana for a 2/2 when you can just pay 0 mana for a 2/2, right? Beautiful, this is a giant. Why don't we run that? Nice. You probably gotten this many times before, but I just realized how much resemblance you have with Reclaimer. There's even a meme about it. There's a meme about it. That's how much of how familiar we are. We go way back. Strength about green white over amulet, resilience to blood moon, shadow, and wildfire, and I mean you just stated a pretty good you just made a couple of pretty good points right there, my friend. Yeah, all of that. All of that. The play patterns are different, the matchup splits are different, they are just different decks. They don't really have that much in common besides the Titan Dryad thingy. Everything else is pretty much the same. Win white sucks against combo? Not true. That's what we have sideboard, folks. That's what we have sideboard. I enjoy the Reclaimer decks a lot more than just Amulet variants. I do enjoy both of them. I think both of them are very, very enjoyable. I do feel, even though I kind of like became known as a content creator because of Amulet, I do enjoy... Yeah, I guess we're doing this. I do enjoy the Reclaimer deck a lot, obviously, because I created it, right? So it hits very close to home for obvious reasons. Solo is running in Rumcloak Giant as a trueable board wipe that doesn't kill Titan. That's hot. Yeah, it is. I actually played that card in... my the list that I played in. I'm not playing around main Mind Sensor, by the way. Maybe I should be. The list that I played in a showcase. Okay, that is great for us. So now we just castle and we just cast Titan this turn. Seems good. Hi. Just get Valakut and I guess that we can get... Let's actually get Flagstones and Field here. Yeah. Yeah. So my opponent's gonna path my Titan, obviously. But now Reclaimer ramps us and shit, so that's cool. We also don't expose the second Valakut to another field because we don't have Raminep in the main deck. Titan is like the Sledgehammer. Reclaim is more like grind you to death. I mean, I think that a lot of that has changed a lot over time with how both decks have been evolving. Reclaimer is more... Let's say that Reclaimer is more about incremental advantages as opposed to Amulet, which is like 0 or nothing, right? Reclaimer can win without ever casting a Primeval Titan. Amulet cannot. That is usually like the biggest, most obvious difference, is the fact that one of those decks can win without casting Primeval Titan and the other one cannot. Are we able to make a white Amulet to maintain speed and be resilient? We have done everything, Yanju. I have done most everything that there is to be done with this decks. So what we're gonna be doing now is we serve with Sombos. That's step number 1. Serve with Sombos. Feel the Dead gets banned. Which deck is better off, Reclaimer or Amulet? Well, Reclaimer dies, right? We can path this, but I'd rather save the path for a card that matters. Yes, always healed. Ephemerate. Sounds good. Yep. packs it in. Does Amulet die? No, Amulet doesn't die. Amulet doesn't need field. It's a lot better because of field, no arguments there, but it doesn't need it. Linvala seems reasonable here, right? I think I like Linvala. Stops Stoneforge, stops... I mean, I guess stopping Stoneforge is not particularly relevant, but stopping what's his name certainly is. Stopping Giver. Do you still play Colony Garden even? It's not about count. It's not about edicts. It's about being able to create champ blockers. You started this deck with 29 lands, currently 35. Why? Because you want to hit land drops. The deck only cares about hitting land drops. I mean, why do you make changes to decks, right? It's because you realize about something that the deck needs, and then you try to cater to that need. So that's basically what it is. We realized that hitting land drop was the most important thing, so started adding more and more and more lands. Cool. Keep this, bottom this, and bottom the Titan. Very sad here. I guess I should have cut Florahedron instead of cutting the Spring Bloom. My bad there. Well, I know what I'm calling for. I'll tell you that much. Professional Twitch Heckler. Sounds accurate. House is secretly a Neoform Kabbalist. Wow, gross. You've been called out, House. I'm doing this main phase to play around Aven Mind Sensor. Arbiter for MTG, gifting 2 tier 1 subs to the community. Thank you so much, Arbiter for MTG. And George A. Monty in Final Nub. Both of you, welcome to the Primetime Stronghold. Wow, John, you were not a sub to the channel? Wow. Wow. Appreciate you infiltrating Titan Society as an industry spy. Imagine not being sub to anybody. Yeah, I know. Wild. Well, this knight is going to be destroying my opponent's Aether Vial. Thalia? Seems very important to stop my opponent's development here. I could have also played a Dryad, but I think this is better. I'm gonna be taking some damages here. So we're gonna have to do some damage control. I'll be taking 4. If I find an untapped land, I'm actually gonna play Dryad here. I think my opponent's perfect mana over there. Maul is hella scary here. Thalia versus a creature deck. Yeah, I guess that my opponent just doesn't have cards, you know? Okay. I think I'm supposed to call for a Titan. We can't really cast it just yet, but I'm still supposed to call for it. Yeah, Pierre, thank you for checking out the podcast. And yeah, I mean, constructive criticism is always appreciated, obviously. Because you talking really fast and mumble a bit. Yep, that's possible. I feel you. It's about. That's one thing that I have learned. Usually I talk very fast because I'm Argentinian, so naturally I don't know, just like our culture, we just kind of talk very quickly for whatever reason. But it's something that I kind of have forced myself to do, to slow down a little bit. So that means that they have mind sensor, so we're just gonna do this because we have to, I think. Oh shit, I forgot about that. That's a card. Whoopsies. Yep, forgot about that. Path might dry at an upkeep on draw step, I guess. Sweet. I mean, not sweet, that kind of sucks, but it could have been a lot worse. So gonna fetch for Plains. Crack Clue. We can draw Reclaimer here. Esuva. We're not in good shape here. This giver is giving me a lot of trouble. Funny guy. But yeah, for real, this giver is kind of destroying me here. So I think I'm gonna main phase call for Apparition to get rid of this giver. I have such a weight with words. Yeah, I do. Wait, do we not have oof? I guess there's no oof in this 675. Getting kind of wrecked here. Yeah, I think we have to go get Apparition. Get rid of the giver. Ha! The problem the problem if we get Limbala is that we actually lose to. Yeah, I think we just have to operation because we lose to like an opposing. Yeah, we just lose too much stuff basically because we lose to an opposing apparition, we lose to an opposing path to exile. They're just too greedy to get Limbala here. Yeah, I'm gonna get a land though. What am I getting? Let's get Ghost Quarter. You don't have a flyer, at least. Not yet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so. I don't know how great that play is. So they probably are going to Yorion here. Which means that I'm dead. So I'm probably going to just fetch and shock here. Because it just doesn't matter. Like my life total, the difference between 4 and 1 is non-existent. And we kind of have to find the Valakut, so I'd rather... The foothills represents 1 trigger. Three, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Titan doesn't do it. They have Yorion in hand. I really know what my opponent's thinking so hard about. Yeah, this is just bad. They should have just played the Yorion. I don't know what they're doing. I am just gonna chump. Like, it just doesn't achieve anything. Oh, they can do both. Okay, that's why. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay. So as I was... they tapped out of Ghost Squatter. So I guess that we have to naturally draw the Valakut, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna fetch Temple Garden, shock, down to 1. Just gonna crack a clue here. We need Valakut. We need Valakut. Valakut. Right here. That's not it. I guess we can still draw Valakut. I mean, they have Maul now, so I guess that we can't draw Valakut anymore. Yeah, okay, we just died. Feels bad. Does Mind Sensor matter? Literally just as a flyer. just as a flying blocker. It slows down... It stops Stoneforge, which is not nothing. It's not great either. I guess I'd rather have Spring Bloom. Nah, Gracer is just bad. Also, that was a move to 5. So good! Turn Timber, so good. Alright, we're gonna bottom this tracker, I guess. Might catch a fetch. I don't think they're playing fetch lands. Because they're playing Arbiter themselves, I think. Turn Timber. To be fair though, Turn Timber is not great against... Turn Timber is not great against Flicker Wisp. Don't path me, bro. Sick. I guess we still get Flagstones. I think we still get Flagstones because we can call for the guy. We can call for the guy. The guy being Druid, right? Springbloom. Land. Not quite the one I was looking for, but... They still have 6 cards in hand and 69 cards in deck. Nice. The guy, Springbloom Druid, exactly. The guy. You know who I'm talking about. We're talking about the guy. The Invala being a 3/4 flyer, kind of hilarious right now. Dominating the skies, overseeing the skies with her, like, weights or something. Like, whatever this thing is. With those thingies. Oh, the guy. What do you got, opponent? What do you got? Mind Sensor and Arbiter are the 2 things that I do not want to see. Flicker Wisp. My Turn Timber. Wow. There were a lot of pretty good plays there. Oh. The guy! Remember folks when I was talking about the guy? That's the guy right there. That's the guy right there. So I guess we're gonna call for Dryad. And then we Springbloom. Sucking Flagstones. Forest, Snow Forest. Plains. Yes. Kind of baby stuff. 3/4 Reclaimer, let's go. Treatle, 1 back-to-back challenges, mono red in my Ayashi special. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Wild, right? Harry the Lizard Wizard. That's a funny name. I like it. Thank you both, follow. Why did I e-call there? My opponent is playing Mind Sensor and Arbiter in their deck. So that's why I prioritize main facing the call. Bomats and 19 lands. You get a Thalia. You get a Stoneforge Mystic. One, two, three. Dryad. Oh shit. Oh no, we're fine, we're fine, we're fine. I almost thought I made a mistake there. Hashtag sequencing. Kill that, and I guess I killed this. Why did I kill the Stoneforge? I have a Limbala. That was silly. Should have killed the Apparition. Never mind. I mean, this Thalia is doing a lot of work for me. So if my opponent attacks with Thalia, I'm just gonna chump it because I don't want to kill it. Why are these Reclaimer decks better than Amulets? They're not better than Amulet. Why does everybody insist on using the word better and worse? It's not a matter of better or worse, folks. It's a matter of context. It is a matter of context. Sometimes there are some matchups. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, actually I can do Raminap. I guess I'd rather just Titan plus activate Reclaimer, I think. So let's do Field of the Dead and Blasone. Yeah, this is good. Illusion serves 3/3. What is the contest that make playing Reclaimer over Amulet? A lot of combo decks. Quash. A lot of combo decks that are not creature based but are spell based. Spell based combo is an axis that this deck really struggles to fight on, while Amulet has a better shot just because it's faster, you know? What is Limbala for? It's just a 3/4 blocker, which as you can see, it's being relevant, and it stops Giver and Stoneforge Mystic. I think we got this. If they target anything with field, we just sack that to Reclaimer. So if they want to maul, they have to maul main phase because the maul costs 4 because the Thalia is doing so much work for me. I don't know why this card is still in the deck. Like it legit just hurts them more than me, which is funny. People just like to put things in boxes and categorize them. It is better than that. You know, it probably has a lot to do with the American education system. Speaking from a teacher's point of view here, that makes sense, Professor. That makes sense. I mean, it is true that it's easier to understand things when they are, you know, like compartmentalized. compartmentalized. Compartmentalized, if that's a thing. That's the word I'm looking for, at least. What's up, George? How's it going? You have activated my trap card, opponent. You have successfully time walked yourself. As humans, we like to simplify things to process them. Yeah, exactly. So it does make sense for people to want to do that. But yeah, it can be counterproductive sometimes. GG's. GG's. 3-0. Turn 1 Reclaimer plus turn 2 Flagstone's ramp is a very, very sweet sequence. Yes, yes. It very, very much is. It is a very, very good sequence. I like to call it Splinter Twin as a joke, but it for real is very, very powerful. So we're gonna take 1 billion damage with this hand, but I don't think we're supposed to ship it. What card would you consider your pet card outside of prime time? Isn't it obvious? Isn't it obvious at this point? Oh, sick. Sakama is the pet card. God damn it. God damn it. I'll bog you so hard, opponent. I will bog you so hard. One of all your wins here, assuming you didn't draw it. Yep. Even if I draw it, I can still play it and go fetch Vesuva. So it's not a problem at all. Is this gonna be like played as a 2/3 blocker? That's hilarious. Flagstones for flagstones, baby. Flagstones for flagstones. Do they have it out to this main deck? I think that their only out is the removal spell, like the land that is a removal spell. I think that's their out. But as things currently stand, I think we might be able to also beat that if we have to. Narco beats, obviously. Yeah, exactly. Good old narco beats. Yeah, this is gonna be a match that we're gonna win without ever casting primetime. So we have actual lethal here, but I'm trying to think if there's anything that I should be playing around. They sometimes play stuff like Vendetta. I mean, I just can't lose if I pass the turn, right? Literally can't lose if I pass the turn. Gotta say, after playing Valakut this weekend, it makes me so happy to see it trigger even in Modern. Oh, land, yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Opponent goes to their turn and they lose connection to the game. A classic play. A classic play while admiring the power. Admiring the infinite power of Elvish Reclaimer. Oops, all rage quit. Bad connection or bad temper? Now, it seems like my phone actually had bad connection because they're back. Maybe I should have gone for it. I'm kind of regretting not going for it now. The thing is that they can't like have the mana to interact and kill me on the same turn unless they have like 2, 3, 4 Simian Spirit Guides. I guess they could have a land. But we have 9 damage at instant speed right here. We have 9 damage at instant speed, so... Reclaimer is the best Planeswalker in Modern, changed my mind. Deathrite Shaman best walker. Yeah, that's I think that's why in Modern was purposely added to that sentence. Creatures, damn it. Was the Rashama legal in Modern? Yeah, it was legal for a while. And John was the best deck in the format. Apparition out. No. Their cyber plan very often includes Goblin Charger. I know that Sodek wasn't playing Belcher in the board, but other people are. So because I don't know my opponent's sideboard, I will just hedge against them having access to Belcher. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna have to ship this. We keep this and we bottom the bog like professionals that we are. What a master. Do we ever bring it? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right after I clicked, I'm just not used to. Yeah, this is what we could have lost to last game. Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Arbiter 4 MTG, thank you for gifting another sub to Squee Goblin the Bob. Welcome to the Prime Tron Fold, Squee. And thank you for the support, Arbiter. Really appreciate all the gifted subs today. Hey, cousin. Yeah, welcome. Nice and easy for a no. Nice and easy for a no start. Whitelisted. Look, you can say I'm whitelisted. You can call me a locksack. You might be correct. You might be correct. I would feel bad for a opponent, but they register Upsala spells, so yeah, exactly. Can't feel too bad for the turn 2 kill you combo deck, right? If I were a opponent, I would have at least tested to see if you have Bog in hand. Yeah, well, the thing is that if they didn't have the 4th mana, then they can't do anything, right? Because they didn't play a creature spell that turn. How much do you value Reclaimer in your starting hands? A lot. Yeah, Simon's play guy would have been the only way. I don't know what you mean by how much do you value a Reclaimer in your starting hand. Like, how much does it weigh in my decision? I assume that's what you mean. How much does it weigh in my decision to keep or mulligan that hand? Uro not good in this deck. This deck is green and white. Uro is double blue. This deck's mana is already bad. Splashing Forward is not necessary. Also, this deck kind of sheds on decks that Uro's good against already, so. How is your matchup versus Omnat Field? Pretty good. That's right, it's one of the 2 green creatures on the Modern Legacy Vintage ban list. Who can be the first one to name the other? The Druid, the 2-mana Druid. I don't remember the name of the card, but it's a 2-mana Druid and you tap it and it does the same thing. You just mill your entire deck. Which honestly, probably that guy might be okay to be unbanned at this point. Italian dude trying to explain myself in English. Yeah, for sure. Hermit Druid, there you go. Yeah, no, I do value it very highly. I give it away. Oh, sorry, Professor. Whoops. Okay, what am I doing here? My opponent very often plays Tron. How do we beat Tron? I mean, I guess I'm going to keep this hand. If we are indeed getting paired against Tron, that really sucks for us, but it probably sucks for us regardless, so yeah. So I guess we're just gonna die before we get to do anything. That sucks. Tron is beatable if it loses to itself. Yeah. The way to beat Tron is they just don't have a good draw. Well. We can't beat turn 3 Karn, but we can beat turn 3 like Wormcoil or something like that. Yeah, that's the one that we can't beat. Remember when I said that we couldn't beat this guy? Well, yeah, that's the guy. Okay. Teague. Mind Sensor, even though it's pretty bad. Oh, this matchup's rough. This matchup's pretty rough. This is probably like the only reason to play Tron. Like the only reason to play Tron probably is the fact that it actually beats on this deck specifically. Should we? Yeah, okay, let's bottom Flagstones. Mull to 3. Oh man, why couldn't they have saved their Mull to 3 for the match where they were on the play? Damn it, opponent. Since when I miss Twin, granted playing against Twin is just as bad, but I dislike playing against Tron. Yeah, I kinda hate Tron too. So we're just gonna be just Flagstones for Flagstones here. Yeah, I think... If I play Dryad here, that means that I can activate... Get Valakut. Trigger for 3, next turn, trigger, trigger, trigger. We set up lethal next turn. But what if I dig here? Next turn, we play land. If we draw any land, we're fine, but we don't set up lethal. Yeah, I think I'd rather set up lethal. Give my opponent 1 turn. We still get to beat... Karn here. Okay, cool. Tig is the safer play. Yeah, but Tig doesn't set up lethal, right? So if I don't set up lethal... And the key thing that made me go for this line is the fact that this actually not only sets up lethal, but also beats a Karn Liberator, right? If this line couldn't beat a Karn, I would have gone for Gadok Teague. Wilt. And now we play the Teague. Oblivion Stone. Okay, cool. So it needs to be exactly Oblivion Stone. It needs to be exactly Oblivion Stone. All right, here we go. Dismemory token. We know that their one card in hand is a Blast Zone, right? So they couldn't have both. They can play Ballista here. Okay. So they block, they kill, still take exactly lethal. Feels good, man. Que no vaya porque tenéis más Rebasher. Puede ser. What does Limbala stop? Just Limbala just stops Walking Ballista. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just not enough. They started with 7? Yeah, we're super fucked. Okay, so we have to draw untap land. Not it. So we just lose. We had to draw untap land into... What's his name? Yeah, we're just like, we cannot win this game anymore. So I'm going to continue going through the motions, but I think I'm 0% to win this game anymore. And I'm ready to concede very quickly when my opponent shows me the card. That's, I guess, not white. Okay, I'm gonna go for the high. I guess that it doesn't really get me anywhere anyway, huh? 4-1. It sucks to lose to Tron, but like it's kind of what you sign up for. I did try to fight the Tron matchup a little bit, and I had like medium success. This is usually what my deck was looking like when I submitted for the showcase. So you can see that I'm playing like Generous Gift, we're playing a couple of copies of Damping Sphere. So I'm trying to give myself a shot in the Tron matchup, but the matchup is just bad. It's just a bad matchup, and I don't know. Like, you would need to really work to fix it. Like, you would need to add like the Tech Edge into the sideboard, or maybe another Ghost Squatter. Like, it's just too much work to fix the Tron matchup. So I think that the better thing is to just kind of ignore it. Just, you know, assume that you're gonna lose to it, but just, you know, kind of move on with your life. This list is cool though. This list is legit. 2 hours leagues, missed this. Yeah, I know. We played against a couple of pretty slow opponents, but actually the first half hour of this stream was just like talking about the weekend's results and stuff, so it wasn't really a 2 hour league. It's more like an hour and 40 minutes league, which is okay. What, Tron? Yeah, Tron is not good. But, you know, like Tron players, just the same way that I will play Amulet sometimes when I shouldn't be playing Amulet, Tron players will play Tron even when they're not supposed to, you know? Wait, where's my good at Ghost Squatter? Why would you not show the versions separately? That's so silly. Also, why would two cards with the same name be different? It's very weird. Huh, very strange. Anyway, thoughts on the list. I think it's a cool. This to me, it's kind of a waste of a slot. I don't like this at all. Teague also kind of sucks. Like, it's fine, right? Like, you have Teague precisely because of something like Tron or whatever, but like, it's okay, but it's not insane. I definitely do not like Tireless Tracker. I definitely do not like Tireless Tracker at all. The main deck is legit though. I like the main deck a lot. I think personally, if I were to make changes to this, I think I would just cut the Grazers and just add Explorers. Just go something like this. And I love the Spring Bloom, love Turn Timber. I dig the Florahedron, and everything else is pretty much not really cuttable. Another apparition might be interesting. Tracker is a must against Yorion control. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is just a matter of experience, Gyanju. And my experience over a lot of matchups against that deck is that Tracker is bad. That Tracker just doesn't do anything. Because they don't care about the incremental advantage. In that matchup, it's all about the haymakers. And Tracker is not a haymaker. Tracker makes sense in a deck like Amulet, right? Tracker bridges the gap and allows you to fight an Ashiok. It allows you to like force your opponent to waste their either gusts and whatnot on your Tracker, so that then you can slam a Titan and you win. That's just not how this deck plays. Like, your opponent is gonna need to gust your Reclaimer, is gonna need to gust your Dryad, otherwise they're just gonna lose to this. You don't even need to gust a Titan against those decks. So the concept of bridging the gap just doesn't exist. Like, this card has no purpose, which is my issue with it, is the fact that it makes sense. Like, this card has historically been like your value engine. But this deck is not about value engines. Like Reclaimer is a significantly better value engine than Tracker is, and it's a 1-drop, and it's already in our deck, right? So like Tracker just has no purpose. Like it just doesn't do anything. They don't care about your incremental advantage, and if they care, they just bolt the Tracker and move on with their lives. Like it's just really bad. So I think I'm gonna cut the Tracker, and I don't like Teague either, honestly. The thing is, I don't know what I want to fight. Like, do I want to fight the creature decks? So maybe I would play an extra apparition. Should I be playing a Dismember? Should I be playing a Winds of Abandon? That is the issue. Like, what do I want to fight? What do I want my cyber cards to target? Failed Valley Retreat? Again, what for, Mattress? Like, if you're going to suggest a card, you need to tell me what it's for. And I'm precisely telling you that there's no real purpose for those kind of cards. Like, we don't want value. Like, we create more value than basically any other deck in the format, right? Like, we don't care about cards that do value stuff. Like, we have that covered. Chat always like board wipes and land destruction. I mean, I do like removal because of this deck actually struggles with. So when I played in the showcase, when I prepared my list for the showcase, which this is the list that I ended up with, precisely what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a little bit of a fighting chance against Tron while having an answer to Ashiok and opposing lands in the face of Mystic Sanctuary decks and what's the card that I'm thinking about here? Arbiter. Learning Arbiter. That's the card I was looking for. Arbiter and Medley Mage. So that's why you see cards like Generous Gift and Dismember. That's why you see cards like Winds of Abandon. Against the blue decks, we want Boil. That's why you see the Boils here. Against like the aggro decks, we have Elder Gargaroth. Like, I was trying to make sure that each card in my sideboard has a purpose and a reason for being there. It's not just like throwing a card in there because as filler, you know? Filler cards suck. Can you see that Retreat is for the Constellation? Oh, for the Constellation triggers. That makes sense. Maybe we should throw Skybind in there as well. Anyway. So, yeah. I kind of want Ramming Up in the main deck too. I think I'm just going to play another Apparition. Like, this card is just so impressive. This card has been so absurdly impressive to me. We could cut a line for the main deck Ramming Up. That would basically enable us to have one more sideboard slot. It's close though. And then of course it's what I was saying earlier. I don't like the split. I think I'd rather have the 2-2 split instead of the 3-1. Like, I understand the idea behind the 3-1 split. I just don't agree that it's relevant. Ever think about Failure Retreat? It has its issues it uses. You forget about the Kappa, Kenpochi. You forget about the Kappa. Something like that. I kind of do like the 3 castle thing, even though it didn't come up a single. I think it came up once. I think it came up once, the castle thing. We could move one of the lands to the sideboard. So like Blast Zone or Radiant Fountain. Kind of Beast over Scatter is good. I don't know. I played only 1 match with it. I was not impressed. I think I like Scatter Groves for now. But I have only 1 match of experience, so not too much. Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe next time I'll try something like this. That JPG, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome back to the Prime Time Stronghold. That's 5 months of support. Thank you so much, JPG. Appreciate it. Yeah, probably this is where I would go next. I'm gonna give Canopy Beast another shot, but I'm not really into it if I'm being honest. Scatter Groves, being able to cycle has been more relevant. Scatter is fantastic when you search for it. I mean, it's just we just wanted differently named planes, right? For field purposes. It's kind of whatever. Like, it's just like, do we want it to be Canopy Beast or do you want it to be the other one? This has a mild upside of you can fetch it in the mid to late game, but just kind of by default, you are incentivized to fetch it early, right? Because you have only 1 copy of this and 2 copies of Temple Garden. So with your first Flagstone's activation, you're kind of incentivized to go get Canopy Beast instead of Temple Garden. Just so if you draw one of the duels, naturally, it's going to have a different name for Field of the Dead. So like the issue that I have is that the play patterns that the deck has kind of defeat the purpose of playing this card over the other one. That is the issue that I have with it, right? Like, the common play patterns and like the way the deck plays out kind of goes entirely against the potential upside that you could have for playing this card in your deck. So it is a little bit counterintuitive, but it's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles in a way, right? Which is similar to like the argument that I see for the 2-2 split instead of the 1-3 split that Will prefers. It's just like the play patterns that the deck represents makes the 2-2 split better in my opinion, even though in theory it makes sense to go 1 and 3. When you're actually playing the games, it feels like the 2-2 split is just better. The LGS promo vistas are nice expedition art on non-foil regular lands. That's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. Alright folks, that's gonna be it for me today. Hope you enjoyed the stream, but I still have some videos to edit to upload to YouTube, and I'm gonna have to upload this one and then I have to go teach a lesson, so unfortunately I'm not gonna have time to play another league. I will be playing some more tomorrow and things are gonna go back to normal now, so you're gonna see me stream like at least 4 hours every day for the rest of the week. So I will see you all tomorrow and the day after as well. So stay safe. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so on YouTube just yet. Thank you so much for checking out the video, and bye bye. See you later.